After 60. Authority. Life goes on after 60.
If you're over 60 and finding yourself asking people to repeat themselves, turning the TV volume up louder, or avoiding noisy restaurants because you can't follow conversations, you might think it's just part of getting older. But Australian audiologists now warn that untreated hearing loss is one of the biggest preventable risk factors for dementia, depression, and loss of independence. Today, you'll discover the 7 early warning signs of hearing loss that 3.6 million Australians ignore until it's too late, and the proven steps to protect your brain, maintain your relationships, and keep living the life you love.
I've worked as an audiologist for over 20 years, and I need you to hear me clearly. Hearing loss is not just about struggling to hear. It's about your brain, your mental health, your relationships, and your independence. Every single week, I see seniors in my clinic who've waited years, sometimes decades, before getting their hearing tested. By the time they come in, they've already lost friendships, stopped going to family gatherings, and withdrawn from activities they used to love. Their partners are exhausted from repeating everything. Their children are worried about their isolation. And here's what breaks my heart. Most of them had no idea that hearing loss was the root cause of their problems. They thought they were just tired, or that people were mumbling, or that they were getting old and antisocial. But the science is absolutely clear. Untreated hearing loss dramatically increases your risk of dementia, depression, falls, social isolation, and even early death. Let me give you the numbers that should wake up every Australian over 60. 3.6 million Australians currently have hearing loss by 2060. That number will nearly double to 7.8 million. 1 in 2 people over 60 have hearing loss by age 70. That rises to 70%. And by 80, it's 80%, yet only 69% of people with moderate severe hearing loss use hearing aids. That means millions of Australians are walking around with untreated hearing loss, and it's destroying their quality of life and putting them at serious risk. Why is untreated hearing loss so dangerous? Because your ears aren't just about hearing sounds. They're directly connected to your brain. When you can't hear clearly, your brain has to work much harder to make sense of sounds. This constant mental effort is exhausting and drains cognitive resources away from memory and thinking. Over time, this leads to faster cognitive decline and significantly increased dementia risk. Untreated hearing loss is associated with 87% higher risk of frailty and accelerated brain aging, social withdrawal, and loneliness. When conversations become difficult, people avoid social situations, leading to isolation, depression, and anxiety. Seniors with untreated hearing loss are far more likely to experience depression, paranoia, and mental distress. Increased fall risk. Hearing helps with balance and spatial awareness. Loss of independence. Difficulty communicating affects every aspect of daily life, but here's the incredible news. Treating hearing loss can reverse or prevent many of these problems. Research shows that people who use hearing aids have better cognitive function, lower depression rates, more active social lives, and maintain independence longer than those with untreated hearing loss. In this video, you'll learn the 7 early warning signs of hearing loss that most Australians ignore until it's too late. You'll understand why each sign matters, what's happening in your ears and brain, and, most importantly, the specific actions you can take to protect your hearing, your brain, and your relationships. If you're over 60, or if you have a parent or loved one in that age group, this might be the most important health information you watch this year. Recognizing hearing loss early and acting on it can be the difference between 10 more years of rich, connected life and a gradual, preventable slide into isolation and cognitive decline. Understanding age-related hearing loss. What it is and why it matters. Age-related hearing loss, called presbycusis in medical terms, is the gradual loss of hearing that occurs as we get older. It typically affects both ears equally and happens so gradually that most people don't notice it at first. What causes it? As we age, the tiny hair cells in the inner ear that detect sound vibrations become damaged or die. Once these hair cells are gone, they don't grow back. This damage typically starts with high-frequency sounds first, which is why many people with early hearing loss struggle to hear women's and children's voices, higher pitch, consonants like S, T, K, P, B, F, high-frequency sounds, birds singing, phone ringing, microwave beeping risk factors that accelerate hearing loss. Age, the biggest factor, 29% at age 51 to 60, rising to 66% over 60. Noise exposure, decades of loud workplace noise, concerts, power tools diabetes, doubles the risk. Cardiovascular disease, poor circulation affects the inner ear smoking, damages blood vessels supplying the ears certain medications. Some antibiotics, chemotherapy drugs, high-dose aspirin family history. Genetic factors play a role in the connection to dementia. This is where it gets really serious. Multiple large studies have found that hearing loss is one of the biggest modifiable risk factors for dementia. Why? Three main reasons. Cognitive load. Your brain exhausts itself trying to decode unclear sounds, leaving less capacity for memory and thinking. Social isolation. Avoiding social situations due to communication difficulty leads to loneliness, which accelerates cognitive decline. Brain structure changes. Studies show that untreated hearing loss actually causes faster shrinkage of brain areas involved in memory and cognition. The good news. Research suggests that by making lifestyle changes and modifying risk factors like hearing loss, we could delay or prevent up to 40% of dementia cases. Sign number 1. You're constantly asking people to repeat themselves what it looks and feels like. You find yourself saying "pardon" or "what was that?" multiple times in every conversation. People think you're not paying attention, but the truth is you're listening hard. You just can't quite make out what they're saying. It's especially bad when someone speaks to you from another room. There's background noise, restaurant, family gathering, car radio. People speak quickly or quietly. Someone is facing away from you. Why it matters? This is often the very first sign of hearing loss, and it usually starts years before you realize there's a problem. You might blame others for mumbling or not speaking clearly, but the reality is that your ability to hear high-frequency consonants is declining. The social cost is enormous. Every time you ask someone to repeat themselves, it disrupts the flow of conversation. After a while, you start feeling embarrassed or burdensome. So you begin to pretend you heard when you didn't, nod and smile without understanding. Withdraw from conversations, avoid social situations entirely. This social withdrawal is the beginning of a dangerous spiral into isolation, loneliness, and depression. What's happening in your ears? The high-frequency hair cells in your inner ear are dying. High-frequency sounds carry most of the information that helps us distinguish between similar words, like bat vs cat or thin vs thin. When those sounds fade, speech becomes unclear and muddy. What to do? Step 1. Get a baseline hearing test. If you're over 60 and haven't had a hearing test in the past 2 years, book one now. Way to get tested in Australia. GP referral. Medicare rebate available for hearing assessment pensioners, veterans, DVA cardholders. Fully subsidized testing and hearing aids through Government Hearing Services Program. HSP, private audiologist. Comprehensive testing, usually $50 to $150. Step 2. Communication strategies. While you investigate, ask people to face you when speaking. Lip reading helps even if you don't realize it. Reduce background noise. Turn off TV or radio during conversations. Position yourself well in group settings. Sit where you can see everyone's faces. Be honest. I'm having some hearing difficulties. Could you speak a bit more clearly? Step 3. Address it early. Don't wait until it's severe. The earlier you treat hearing loss, the better your brain adapts to hearing aids and the better your long-term outcomes. Sign number 2. You're turning the TV or radio up louder and louder. What it looks and feels like your family complains that the TV is too loud, but to you it sounds perfectly normal. You find yourself cranking up the car radio or struggling to hear the phone unless the volume is maxed out. Why it matters? This is a classic sign of progressive hearing loss. What's happening is that you're not just losing volume, you're losing clarity. Turning things louder helps a bit, but it doesn't fix the fundamental problem. Your ability to distinguish speech sounds is deteriorating. The impact on relationships. I see this all the time in my clinic. Partners sitting on opposite ends of the couch because one person needs the TV so loud it's unbearable for the other. This creates tension, frustration, and distance in relationships that were once close. What's happening? Your inner ear hair cells are dying across a broader range of frequencies now, not just the highest ones. Your brain is trying to compensate by demanding more volume. but volume alone can't replace the lost frequency information. What to do? Step 1. Check your hearing. This is a clear signal it's time for a professional test. Step 2. Use hearing assistance technology even before you get hearing aids. There are options. TV headphones or sound bars with voice boost technology. Amplifies dialogue without blasting the whole house. Smartphone amplification apps can help during phone calls. Closed captions. Turn on subtitles for TV shows. This is very common and helpful. Step 3. Consider hearing aids if you need the TV at a volume that bothers others. You almost certainly have hearing loss that would benefit from hearing aids. Cost and access in Australia 2026. Pensioners owe DVA, fully or partially subsidized through HSP, around $500 per aid from government. May cover basic models completely. Working age is self-funded. $1,000 to $10,000 per pair depending on technology level. Basic. $1,200 to $2,500 mid-range with Bluetooth. $2,500 to $5,500 premium with AI noise reduction. $6,000 to $10,000 private health insurance. Some policies offer rebates. Check your extras cover. Don't let costs stop you. There are affordable options, and the cost of not treating hearing loss, socially, mentally, cognitively, is far higher. Sign number 3. You avoid restaurants, parties, and noisy social situations. What it looks and feels like. You used to love going out with friends, but now you find excuses to stay home. Restaurants with background noise are exhausting. You can't follow the conversation, you feel left out, and by the time you get home, you're mentally drained. Family gatherings with multiple conversations happening at once are overwhelming. You sit quietly on the sidelines because trying to participate is just too hard. Why it matters? This is the point where hearing loss transitions from a physical problem to a devastating social and emotional problem. The research is stark. Seniors with untreated hearing loss are significantly more likely to experience depression, anxiety, paranoia, and social isolation compared to those who use hearing aids. Social isolation and loneliness are linked to increased mortality and higher healthcare costs. The COVID-19 pandemic made this dramatically worse. Studies found that older adults with hearing loss experience greater loneliness, depression, and cognitive dysfunction during enforced social distancing. One of my patients, a 68-year-old man, told me he'd stopped going to his weekly card game, something he'd done with the same group of friends for 30 years. He was ashamed that he couldn't follow the banter anymore. His wife said he'd become withdrawn and sad. Within 3 months of getting hearing aids, he was back at card night. His depression lifted. His wife said, "I got my husband back." What's happening when you have hearing loss? Your brain is working overtime in noisy environments trying to separate speech from background noise. This is mentally exhausting. After a while, the effort outweighs the enjoyment, so you stop going. But isolation makes everything worse. It accelerates cognitive decline, worsens depression, and increases dementia risk. What to do? Step 1. Recognize this is a medical problem, not a personality change. You're not antisocial or grumpy. You have a treatable hearing condition. Step 2. Get hearing aids. Modern hearing aids have sophisticated technology specifically designed to reduce background noise and amplify speech. Premium models use AI to automatically adjust to different environments. Hearing aids dramatically improve social participation. Studies show that hearing aid users and their families report significant improvements in relationships with family, social life, participation in group activities, self-confidence, mental and emotional health. Step 3. Re-engage gradually. Once you have hearing aids, start with small, manageable social situations and build up. Give yourself time to adjust to the devices. Step 4. Ask for accommodations. Choose quieter restaurants. Ask for a corner table away from kitchen. Suggest smaller gatherings instead of large parties. Ask family to reduce background noise. Turn off TV during conversations. Don't let hearing loss steal your social life. It's reversible. Sign number 4. People sound like they're mumbling. What it looks and feels like. Everyone seems to mumble these days. The news presenters, your grandkids, even your partner. You can hear that people are talking, but you can't quite make out the words. It's like listening to someone speak through a thick wall. Why it matters? This is a hallmark sign of high-frequency hearing loss. You're not losing volume. You can hear that sound is happening. You're losing clarity. The consonants that give speech its clarity S, T, K, P, B, F, TH are all high-frequency sounds. When you can't hear those sounds, speech becomes muffled and indistinct. Why this frustrates communication? Imagine someone says, "Did you take your pills?" But without the high-frequency consonants, you hear D-I-O-A, Cowa, Illinois. You might guess, "Did you make the dinner?" and respond with something completely off-topic. This causes confusion, frustration, and miscommunication that strains relationships. What's happening? The high-frequency hair cells in your cochlea, inner ear, have been damaged or destroyed. This is the most common pattern of age-related hearing loss. What to do? Step 1. Stop blaming others. If multiple people across different situations all seem to be mumbling, the problem is your hearing, not their speech. Step 2. Hearing test and hearing aids. Hearing aids are specifically designed to amplify the high frequencies you're missing. Modern digital hearing aids can be programmed to match your exact hearing loss pattern. Step 3. Speech reading, lip reading. Even people with perfect hearing use visual cues. When you have hearing loss, watching the speaker's face becomes essential. Ask people to face you when speaking. Step 4. Context helps. If you know the topic of conversation, your brain can fill in gaps more easily. Ask for context. Are we talking about dinner plans or the doctor appointment? Sign number 5. You're exhausted after social interactions or phone calls. What it looks and feels like after lunch with friends, a family gathering, or even a phone call with your daughter. You're absolutely wiped out. You need to lie down and rest. People think you're tired, but it's a specific kind of mental exhaustion. Why it matters? This is called listening effort or listening fatigue, and it's one of the most overlooked consequences of hearing loss. When you have hearing loss, your brain has to work much harder to decode speech. It's constantly trying to fill in missing sounds, using context to guess at unclear words, filtering out background noise, staying hyperfocused to avoid missing information. This cognitive effort is exhausting, and it drains mental resources away from other important functions like memory, problem-solving, and emotional regulation. The long-term impact. Research shows that this constant cognitive strain accelerates brain aging and increases dementia risk. Your brain is so busy trying to hear that it has less capacity for everything else. What's happening? Your auditory cortex, the hearing part of your brain, isn't getting clear signals, so other parts of your brain are recruited to help make sense of sound. This is inefficient and tiring. What to do? Step 1. Treat the hearing loss. Hearing aids reduce listening effort dramatically. When your brain receives clear sound signals, it doesn't have to work nearly as hard. Step 2. Take breaks. Give yourself permission to step away from noisy environments for a few minutes of quiet. Step 3. Prioritize important listening situations. If you know you have a long phone call or important conversation coming up, rest beforehand and don't schedule other demanding activities immediately after. Step 4. Explain to loved ones. Help your family understand that you're not antisocial. You're managing a real medical condition that causes genuine fatigue. Sign number 6. You have trouble hearing women's and children's voices. What it looks and feels like. You can hear your male friends clearly, but struggle to understand your wife, daughter, or grandchildren. Women and kids sound high-pitched and unclear. Phone calls with female voices are particularly difficult. Why it matters? This is a very specific sign of high-frequency hearing loss. Women's and children's voices have naturally higher pitches than men's voices, and those are exactly the frequencies you lose first with age-related hearing loss. The emotional cost. I've seen grandparents who avoid spending time with their grandchildren because they can't understand the kids' high-pitched voices. They feel ashamed and disconnected from the youngest generation of their family. I've seen marriages strain because a husband can't hear his wife unless she speaks in an unnaturally deep voice. What's happening? Hair cells that detect high-frequency sounds, typically above 2,000 to 4,000 Hz, are dying. Women's voices average around 200 Hz fundamental frequency, but the clarity comes from higher harmonics. Children's voices are even higher. What to do? Step 1. Hearing aids. Modern hearing aids can specifically amplify the high frequencies where women's and children's voices sit. This can be life-changing for family relationships. Step 2. Communication strategies. Ask women and children to slow down slightly. Not louder, just slower. Face each other during conversations. Reduce competing noise. Step 3. Don't let shame when it's not your fault that you have hearing loss. Don't let embarrassment keep you from connecting with the people you love most. Sign number 7. You've stopped hearing everyday sounds, birds, phone ringing, microwave beeping, what it looks and feels like you don't notice the birds singing anymore. You miss phone calls because you don't hear it ringing. The microwave beeps and you don't hear it. Your partner asks, "Did you hear that?" And you genuinely didn't. Why it matters by the time you're missing everyday environmental sounds. Your hearing loss has progressed beyond mild. These high-frequency sounds, bird song, beeps, alarms, are often the first to go, but when they're completely inaudible, it signals significant hearing loss. Safety concerns. Not hearing alarms, doorbells, smoke detectors, or car horns puts you at serious risk. Quality of life. The world becomes quieter, duller, less rich. You lose the soundscape of nature and daily life. What's happening? High-frequency hay cells are gone. You may also be developing hearing loss in mid-frequencies. What to do? Step 1. Urgent hearing test. If you're missing environmental sounds, you have significant hearing loss and need professional help immediately. Step 2. Hearing aids. Hearing aids will restore these sounds. Many of my patients cry the first time they hear birds singing again after years of silence. Step 3. Safety modifications. Install visual alert systems, flashing lights for doorbell, phone, vibrating alarm clocks, smart smoke detectors linked to your phone. The Hearing Health Action Plan. Protect your brain, your relationships, and your independence. Hearing loss is not inevitable, and even when it occurs, treating it can prevent or reverse the devastating consequences. Action. Step 1. Get your hearing tested. Who? Everyone over 60, or anyone with any of the 7 signs above. How often? Every 2 years if normal. Annually if hearing loss detected. Where? GP referral, Medicare rebate, HSP, pensioners, private audiologist. Action. Step 2. If you have hearing loss, get hearing aids. Don't wait. The earlier you get hearing aids, the better your brain adapts and the better your long-term outcomes. Modern hearing aids are tiny and discreet, some invisible, Bluetooth connected, stream music, calls, AI pod, auto-adjust to environments, rechargeable, no fiddly batteries, cost options, pensioners, subsidized or free self-funded. $1,200 to $10,000 depending on features. Payment plans available. Action. Step 3. Protect your remaining hearing. Avoid loud noise exposure. Weigh hearing protection. Mowing, power tools, concerts. Manage cardiovascular risk factors, diabetes, blood pressure, cholesterol. Don't smoke. Action. Step 4. Stay socially connected even with hearing loss. Maintain social connections. Use communication strategies, technology, and accommodations to stay engaged. Action. Step 5. Educate your family. Help loved ones understand that hearing loss is a medical condition that affects communication, mood, and cognition, and that it's treatable. If you're a family member, how to help a loved one with hearing loss. Don't ignore the signs. Just speak up isn't a solution. Have a compassionate conversation. I've noticed you asking me to repeat things a lot, and you seem to be struggling in noisy places. I'm worried about your hearing. Would you be willing to get it checked? I'll come with you if you like. Offer to help. Research options, book appointments, attend audiology visits. Be patient during the adjustment period. Hearing aids take time to get used to. Celebrate the wins. Notice when communication improves and your loved one re-engages with life. Final message. Your hearing is worth protecting. At 60, 70, or 80. You deserve to hear the voices of the people you love, participate in conversations, enjoy music and birdsong, and stay connected to the world. Hearing loss is not just about sound. It's about your brain health, your mental health, your relationships, and your independence. If you recognize 3 or more of these signs, act now. Book a hearing test if you have hearing loss. Get hearing aids. Stay socially connected. Protect your remaining hearing. Don't let cost, stigma, or denial stop you. Research shows that treating hearing loss can reduce dementia risk, improve depression, restore social connections, and add quality years to your life. Your hearing is worth protecting. Start today. Now I want to hear from you. Have you noticed any of these signs in yourself or a loved one? Where are you watching from? And do you use hearing aids? Drop your answer in the comments below. We read and reply to every single comment because your story could help someone else take action. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your loved ones, and subscribe for more life-saving senior health advice. Stay safe, stay connected, and remember, knowledge is power, especially after 60. If you have questions or want to share your hearing loss story, leave a comment below. We are always listening. Thanks for watching.